I am Lewis Herms, your illustrious host. Look, I have to lower my chair. Jeez, holy crap, what's going on here? I've taken Neumi and I must have grown a couple inches. There we go. Look at how that works. So, anyways, folks, that song is interesting because the song's called "Beds Are Burning." The group is Midnight Oil. It's an '80s song. You can kind of tell it's got that '80s flavor to it, for sure. The reason why I picked that is because at the time this was a protest song, and I'm sure they were looked at like tree huggers or whatever, because the deep state had a knack at labeling you with something. So what they did is they created this song, and it was about the living conditions and horrible conditions and the land grabs from the indigenous people in Australia. Well, back then we probably thought, oh, that's all craziness. Well, this is commie talk. Now we know that's just the way they work, and we've also found out um, the indigenous people all around the world are suppressed probably because they resonate at a higher level than some of us. So then they can pick some information off normally. So what they do is they hold them down. It happens in Central South America, all over Africa. This is just what happens because if you have the ability to have discernment at a higher level, this is what they do to you. So I thought it's very important to play a song like this because we are in the days of protest for sure. Hey folks, welcome to Screw Big Gov. This is News, Views, and Conspiracy, and today is Q&A. We're going to be with my good friend Robert Imbriali. Will be here to help me answer some questions. In the meantime, can you like, follow, and share? We really appreciate it. We have to bust those algorithms. The cabal is after us. Ah, that's right. That's how we fight. So let's have some fun here, folks. We'll see how long our show lasts today. In the meantime, if you can't find us, just go to screwbiggov.com, and on the top, you will notice all the social media links. Very important because we get knocked off platforms all the time. So we put the new one back on there. So there's your social media links. And then make sure you sign up for the newsletter. So if somehow we disappear, we're going to let you know. Plus, we'll let you know about upcoming events, the Unity Tour, things like that. When films are released, shows periodically during the week, we'll tell you about, and all the cool stuff. Make sure you go there. Also, you want to find all the films that we did. I think there's 21, 22 by now. Find Freedom in Action site. Remember Your Oath site. Information about the Unity Tour is right there, top left. You'll see Unity Tour. See all the locations and the wonderful products that we recommend you can find right there also. And if you find it in your heart to give a donation to help the Unity Tour, you can go there as well. And last but not least, we are soon launching an amazing swag website. You guys are going to be so excited. People have requested this for a long, long time. Now on this screen, it looks like I have to pull my chair up. Oh, this is going to be fun. Watch this. We got manual. There we go. This is how we do it on this low budget show. Next up, I have Robert cracking up in the background. This is so fun. I'm going to continue to do this just to mess with him. So on your screen, you can hear him squeaking in the background. I can. It's funny. So that is the beautiful Robert Imbrielli on your screen. If you want to find him and everything he does, just go to Telegram at Renegade Media. That's at Renegade Media, and it's a great, great Telegram. Plus, you can go to his site. I believe that's renegademedia.tv. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. He's got a knack for that because I have a knack for making a lot of mistakes. And next up, I don't know why I'm having so much fun today. The world's just falling apart. That's all right. Speaking of the world, hey, oh, do I have to lower my seat again? Here, no, I'll just crouch down. How's that? You guys having fun yet? I am. So I wrote a bunch of notes for you. We're off the cuff. I'm having a good time, right? There we go. Woohoo! What do we got? No, I'm not on cocaine or crack or anything like that. I'm just weird. All right. For lethal aid is what they call it for Ukraine. What they're trying to do everywhere they can. They need to keep the wars going. It is crazy. Now, what's going on in UK? In the UK, it seems like there's mass protests, and of course, they're trying to. They arrested the leader, Tommy Robinson. It's crazy over there. The good news is people are standing up, and there's a lot of reports that they're getting very sophisticated on the way they're taking down the ULEZ apparatus in the UK. So I think that's very interesting. And yes, I do enjoy that the people are standing up and making a difference. We're done with these large governments trying to control us. What else is going on in the world? Well, you got the woke Olympics. And if you go woke, you go broke. Guess what? They are having trouble with their ratings. I can't figure out why. And people are pulling out. Advertisers, some of them are pulling out. Hmm. Gee, I guess when you mock Jesus openly at the Olympics, then maybe that seemed to be a problem. And then, of course, they made a fake apology, which actually sounded like a justification for what they did. So, Macron and his boyfriend, well, I'm sorry, his wife, boyfriend, what would that be? I'm not quite sure. Whatever that couple is, right? They are fully going against Christians. Doesn't matter if you're a Christian or not. It's very clear what they're doing. This is an absolute assault on Christianity. So I see how that works out for them. And then there's nothing going on south of the United States. There's a little teeny country called Venezuela. Anybody ever heard of that? Venezuela? Yes, we've been reporting on it a lot. If you're watching our X and our Telegram, I'll give you a quick summary. So in Venezuela, they had a Dominion Smartmatic election. I call it that because that's who ran the election. And go figure, Maduro won with a 51.2%. But when you see the actual results that the news media put out, it adds up to 109% total voting. So we already knew that was fake. And then we have images from the actual people that were tallying the votes in the room, and it showed that Maduro's opponent, Gonzalez, guess what? Won every single district. The people know it. They know that he got at least 3 times, which is historical, 3 times the votes of Maduro. And what's happening now? The people are rising up, but they're having some problems. You know why? I did an actual expose on the parallel between Venezuela and the United States on Nicholas Veniamin's channel today. You should check it out. It will show you unequivocally how we are going down the exact same road Venezuela, where they're using the same roadmap here. There's no doubt, there's no conjecture. It's undisputable that this is what's happening. And I go point by point by point to prove it. Even a liberal with 2 brain cells can see that this is what's happening. But they need 3 brain cells to admit it. So they may not admit what's going on. What else do we have? Any good news? Yeah. President Trump is still alive. That's good news. Let's keep that going. California is surprisingly banning more bad foods, which is shocking. This is kind of the indication that maybe in the background there are some good guys controlling some things. I don't know, but in parallel to that, the FDA banned certain vegetable and seed oils that we know are carcinogenic. I say carcinogenic, although we believe it's probably parasites, but you know where I'm going with that. It makes you sick. Bad stuff. And obviously, people are standing up in Venezuela. Let's take a look at that. Hey, where's my buddy? He's supposed to be on the screen. What the heck happened? Wow. So let me find the other. See, guys, chill for a second. I'm going to go back to the screen. Hello, Lewis Herms here. So nice to see you today. And I'm going to have to make some adjustments in the back office because clearly I brought the wrong one forward. Let me see here. Wow. I'm going to have to be doing some work. Wait. I got it. Holy crap. Where'd it go? I had Robert on here before. Okay, here it is. Is this the one? Look at that. There's Robert Imbraili. Now, Robert, you're going to have to talk a little bit because I now have to spend about 2 minutes and readjust everything in the back office. So, hello, everybody. This is Robert Imbraili. What's going on in the world, Robert?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, the energy was really good today. I had a bunch of errands to do and got out and I caught every light. It was kind of fun to catch every light and not have any traffic. And I thought, wow, the energy seems shifted from, what we've been experiencing. So I was like, hey, this is kind of a good day. So I'm excited about it. And on the Venezuela thing, there was a massive shift last night. I don't know if you caught it, Lewis, but the police were taking off their shields. Yeah.
Which I thought was
So
amazing. You're right. It's
yeah.
so amazing.
So I think it may not blow up as big as we may have expected into civil war. I think we may actually get to a point where Maduro backs down, and he's if his military is no longer following him, his power's gone.
Well, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but a civil war can erupt when you have two facets of military against each
Right.
other.
Yep.
So, because a couple of them have come forward, until you get probably 80% of them
You
to
need
be
critical mass, right?
on one team. Well, critical mass is usually 2%, but in a case like this, it's you have to get about the 80%, in my opinion, or then you're going to have an actual war. So I'm
Right.
hoping for the best, but it is a concern if they slowly roll out this thing because from what I'm hearing, people are yeah,
Yeah.
and
Which side are they on? Sometimes they say they're on the side of the population, and there's other gangs that are not. So
it's
you've got many
interesting.
factions fighting here.
Yeah, and here's what I haven't figured out is they called some people anarchists and thugs, but then it followed with these are the guys stealing the machines for Maduro. And I'm like, "Oh, you can't have both. It's one or the other, right?" And then another website, I'm sorry, another X account that's has a lot of traffic and pretty credible, called the protesters thugs, but supported what they were doing to take back their country. So I asked, I'm like, well, I said, he hasn't responded. And I said, well, these aren't thugs, these are freedom fighters. So be careful on your wording because words mean something.
Yep.
Still working
Yeah,
in
it's
the
an
back
interesting
office
story
here.
to follow. I think primarily because it could be a precursor to what we may end up seeing here come November. So we've got to pay very close attention to how it's handled and figure out what works and what's not working, so that if we get in that situation, at least we kind of have a heads up on what to do.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's, it's kind of what I've been going through lately is I I'm happy for where this is going to end up. I'm sad for a lot of the people that are going through stuff. I'm sad for the people of Venezuela that are and jailed. I'm sad that the J6ers are not out yet. And there's a roadmap for them to get out now too, but their attorneys don't seem to be taking the information and bringing it in. So I'm very torn lately in my emotions. I'm happy the way things are going, but I'm very empathetic to the plight of people all around the world right now, especially, and this sounds funny, especially the ones that don't know.
Yeah.
The ones that don't know have to be in an extraordinary amount of fear right now. The people watching this channel, you may be uncomfortable, you may be frustrated because it's hard to be in the know when nobody else is. You feel like you're on an island. I get all that, and I empathize with everybody here. But imagine not knowing and then seeing the whole world blow up like this. I bet you those people are just, and some of them are not going to say, "Let me go figure what's going on." They're just going to shell up because they're in fear, and that's got to be
Yep.
really hard for people, especially in countries that don't have access to the media as much as Not real media. I'm talking about online media like we do. And I didn't mean real
Yep.
media. I meant the fake media. Sorry.
The fake media is not the real media. The media people give a lot of authority to, in the same way we give a lot of authority to doctors, and doctors are not the ones with all the answers. In fact, they have very few answers. So our society is kind of upside down, and I think as we go through this, we're going to start to recognize it more and more. And I'm really looking forward to a day when it comes back around, and we realize, you know what, all those doctors that we call quacks, they actually knew what healing was. They know
Yeah.
what health was. They knew that you didn't need drugs to heal, and they knew that all along. And they just made it illegal for them to talk about it. So I'm looking forward to that. And the media, the same thing. It's like people like us will rise to the top
Hmm.
because we're honest about things and we don't hold things back, and we share as much as we can. Now, I got to say, occasionally we're given the information, we're given intel, and they say, please don't share it. So we don't. We may know it, but we can't say it until we get the all clear on it. So not a lot of that. There's very little about it, that, but we share pretty much everything that we know. So
Hmm.
I think this kind of media is the future. And Tucker Carlson was quoted. Somebody asked him. He says, "What do you think the future of media is?" He says, "It's very short." And he says it's going to be the happiest day in my life when it all collapses, and it will, because it can't sustain itself with the low viewership that they've got now. And as they
Yep.
continue to lie, and they continue to say that Kamala Harris has higher approval rating than Donald Trump, people are just laughing now at them. I mean, what a clown show, right? It's like, wait a minute, 2 weeks ago, her approval rating was single digits, was 7%.
Hmm.
3% in some surveys. And now all of a sudden it's 47?
Yeah.
Huh?
I personally, I'm offended because I love Kamala.
You do?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Anybody that wears golden knee pads like she does, is my best friend. She is
Oh,
my hero. Hero.
you
I
don't like
can't
your
say
wife then.
heroin. I can't say heroin anymore.
That's right.
Although I'm sure that's what she injects. Oh, look at the double entendre there.
Yeah, so I think, we're moving into a time when truth and authenticity will be the rule of the day. And the people who watch this show, I get the email messages, I get the messages on Telegram and Facebook, and I love your conversations, I love your feedback, because it really keeps us informed about how far along this trail you are, because we can go too far sometimes and we could lose the audience, or we can go not far enough and lose the audience. So there's this sort of area that we need to stay within, that range we need to stay within, so we
Mhm.
don't lose you. Become We can get, like, for instance, I can go real technical on things, and everyone tunes it out at that point. So, like, no, got to keep it here, right? This is the zone, this is the happy zone. So we've got to pay attention to that, and I think we're in that zone, and we've been there. And occasionally we may hit the guardrail, but you know what? I think we're doing a great job, and so many others are too in our industry. Now, if we can get the infighting to go away and stop the egos, and all of us come together and start working together on these stories and narratives. Oh, I have to be the first. No, that's mainstream media. That's that. They want to be breaking the news. They want to be the first one out with it. We don't want to play that game. I don't really care about that game. I don't care about being the first. I want to be right as much as possible.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So
We
if we can
definitely
get
agree.
there, I think we win.
Yeah, the key is getting there, and I think we're crawling there
Yeah.
right
At this
now.
point, we are.
It's one step ahead of it, but for sure, I've got calluses on my hands and knees. Not the same calluses that Kamala Harris has, just to be very clear about that. Mine's for crawling over grass. Um, Hers is acting as an ass. Oh wow, look at the rhymes are flowing today too. I'm
Whew,
a
I told you, the energy has shifted. It has
I
shifted.
I know I'm a poet and you didn't know it. All right,
Yeah.
let's go for our first question, Robert. Dun dun dun.
Oy vey.
Question one. I'll read, you could answer, and then I'll pipe in. How's that?
Okay.
And we have no idea what we have here. Are U.S. Marshals really headed to D.C.? If so, is there proof of this? And what is their mission? Oh my God, my wife just gave me a face palm. I don't know what I did wrong. She said I'm hilarious.
Hilarious. I love it. Oh, okay. So the initial story that I heard 2 weeks ago now was that it was 3,000 U.S. Marshals that were summoned to Washington, D.C.
Mhm.
And then a video came out and said there were 6,000, and somebody else corrected that and said, no, no, there are only 3,700 Marshals total. That's all there are at
Right.
any given time. So 6,000 can't be real. 3,000 seems more realistic. The guy who made the video came back and corrected it and said, I'm sorry, it was 3,000, it wasn't 6,000. This is where we get into the hype thing, right? Oh, it's 3,000. No, no, he said three. You know what? I'm going to say six because I'll get
Yeah.
more clicks. And it's that
And
kind
then
of game, and
and
I
then
can't stand that.
you get idiots like me that repeat the 6,000.
Yeah, well,
Although
we
although
didn't.
I said they said, thank goodness, but
Yeah, we always do that. We don't say we know because unless we get the information directly from the source, it's always here's where we're getting it from. So are they really headed to DC? Yes, they were headed to DC. We had several people confirm that. What is their mission? We the last I heard, and I was looking for this yesterday because Phoebe was asking too. It's like, where's their mission? What's going on? What's going on? And it seems to be unclear, but right. Which would be one and the same, I think, at this point, because, like you said, the supply and demand, they've got so much supply and there's not enough demand for it. The price will go way down anyway, so there's not profitable. So they've got to find something else, and they found it in little children, sadly.
yep, that's exactly
Yeah.
right. All right, next question.
It's going to be a long show at this rate.
I know. This is your favorite guy. I heard that. Oh no, I thought that was a Steve Bannon question. It's not. Okay, it says I heard that the Brunson case has determined in their favor, but they're keeping it under wraps until the right time. Is this true? Well, I get asked this question a lot of times.
Yeah,
Um,
we
I'm
hear it a lot.
it's great that you guys have heard it, and you may believe it. I have heard nothing of the sort. I've spoke to Loy Brunson several times, and says it's not true. Not to his knowledge. He's pushing forward on some other stuff. So if it's true, I would love it, but I would say, you know, how would that information get leaked and why? And we as the conspiracy part of the Patriots, not the Patriots, not the conservatives, the conspiracy part of the Patriots, you guys have to understand we're still a very, very small percentage. So there would be no reason to throw us a bone like that by giving an information out there because what would it serve? So I would say that would be great if it was, but this is a pretty tight operation. Why would they leak something like that? So this is where we have our discernment and common sense, and we can't just because it's something we want. We can't. With that, you and I have heard this many, many times, but we've never mentioned it on the show because it's not about clicks; it's about truth.
Well, I could bring Janine into this because I specifically asked her this question,
Tarot by
and
Janine.
Tarot by Janine, yeah. So I specifically asked her this question last time, I think two times before we had her on the show. And I asked her about this, and she said, well, this has already been decided in the past. And it seems like, from what she was reading, that they're just hanging on to it until they need it. It's like their trump card. They've got it, they can use it whenever they want to use it. So to say it was determined in their favor, that may be true. It may already have been looked at, but I don't think it would leak out. I think that would be really, really under wraps if they were going to do something like that. They may need, kind of like the Black Hats have many points of attack, not just one ever.
Mhm.
Maybe that's just one of the points of attack from the White Hats. Maybe it's just, they've got that and they're hanging on to it. But they wouldn't tell Lloyd Brunson. He wouldn't know, right? I wouldn't think, because the first thing he would do is get on a million podcasts and tell everybody,
Right, right.
right?
And
So
I,
he,
my
go ahead.
question is, if why would they hold on to it? Or did they just want us to have where the
There's a play, no question. There's a
the
play.
gray
Yeah.
hats have to say, okay, this is enough, right? I mean,
Mhm.
how far are you going to keep pushing it? Uh, uh, we're not as affected as many, and this is kind of where I was going earlier. You guys that are in the know, for the last 8 years, many of you have been very, very upset, and I've been egging you on too, and saying how hard this is on us because when we know, but now I think we've gotten to a point that we have to realize that this is a lot harder on the people that don't know because it's just massive confusion and how many people are being harmed by this whole thing slow rolling out. So I obviously it's going to come to a conclusion within a couple of months here. Um, we know that. How it looks, I don't know. Maybe we'll be in the streets rising up against a false election. We'll see.
Yeah, and it could be like you said. Maybe they're just waiting for this U.S. Marshal, the deal, FBI, whatever, for that to play out. Maybe there's a timing thing. There is a plan. This card fits over here. We're not ready for it yet. We don't know because we're in a war. And the last thing you want to do is tip your hand to the enemy. So I think a lot of this stuff may actually be real. We don't know. Impossible for us to say, is it true? I can't say if it's true or not. I can only hypothesize and guess. And that's all we can do at this point.
Yep,
I
for
think
sure.
even if we were sitting with Clarence Thomas in this room right now, right here, he wouldn't tell us.
Oh, I do believe that there's stuff going on, and if this happened, he would be under a military gag order in if it happened, in my opinion.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
somebody mentioned wasn't Roe versus Wade leaked the decision? Well, actually, no, because if I remember what was leaked about Roe versus Wade was that it was completely abolished and nobody could have abortions anymore, and that's what was leaked, which was incorrect. It was the Supreme Court sent it down to the states according to the Constitution, and the states can
Hmm.
make the decisions. So I maybe Mr. AI, good, cool. I might have remembered it different than you, but I don't think they actually leaked the real decision. I think they leaked a fake decision, which was probably not a leak. It was just probably another patriot talking out of their ass. And that's really what happens a lot, is what we have found.
Yeah. Then you got to be careful of the rumors, and you got to be careful of the stuff that's seeded. So
Mhm.
it's really hard at this point to know the truth. We're in the storm, and when the storm and everything's whipping up and the trees are flying everywhere, it's
Mhm.
kind of really hard to even find your car sometimes. And I think we're there. I think that's what where we are right now.
Yeah, I haven't found my car. So interesting enough, when we make assumptions also that these things are already done, I think it's a dangerous road to go down, because then we stop working, we stop going for what we need to do in our communities because we just wait. Okay, it's already fixed. Let's just wait for it to happen. So I think that's an extraordinarily dangerous road, and that's why I have a problem with all the people wearing the frog masks, eating their popcorn, because I think it's very irresponsible. I hope they're right, but
Yeah.
daily. So we know that's going on. So let's act as if nothing's happening, because it's more responsible, in my opinion, because we can fix things if we the people get involved. But
Well, let's look at it as just one card of the deck, right? And we need the whole deck to win. And if the Brunson case is one card, we got a long way to go,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And you're right. It would just be one card.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to
Carol
number
says,
three.
stay in the eye of the storm. Yes, where it's calm for a few minutes. I got it.
Yes, yes.
But that eye
What
keeps moving. You got to keep moving with the eye.
what's up with the jacked up prices of car insurance? Well, you just said it. The price is up with the jacked up price of the car insurance. It's called inflation, and the insurance companies are always first to grab profits during inflation. So think about that. The insurance companies are always first to grab the profits during, and they've known this all the time. So when they know fire regulations are coming down, they start adjusting their insurance prices, canceling in sections that would cost money, charging more in other sections. The insurance companies are next to the medical industry and chemical industries. I think they're pretty evil, in my opinion.
Couple of things going on here. Number one, and we're seeing it here a lot in California. Our neighbors keep calling, and, "What are you doing for fire insurance? Ours just canceled. Ours just canceled." So the insurance is getting canceled, and the few companies that are still left offering it, their prices went through the roof. So, for instance, fire insurance was about $3,000 a year for some. Now they want $12,000 or more a year for it. Why? Because they want profits. Well, what happened is the laws changed in California. So you've got a political element here. Now, for the car insurance, what happened to the price of cars? They skyrocketed, right? During COVID, everything went come back down. So the insurance company has to look at that and say, okay, if I'm going to charge you $100 a month and you total your car, that car is not going to cost me this much to replace. It's now going to cost this much to replace. So that fraction then has to match, right? We have to be able to match that price you're paying has to be the correct percentage of replacing that car. So it becomes more expensive. And liability, of course, we look in the healthcare industry. So if you hurt somebody, those medical bills now are going to be higher or lower. They're going to be higher. Why? Because the hospitals were empty. They canceled their moneymaker, which was elective surgery. They canceled
Hmm.
it all.
Hmm.
All of it was canceled. So they're trying to make up millions and millions and millions of dollars. So what they've done is they bumped their prices as well. So what is it really? Well, you're just seeing it as a car insurance number, but there's a lot going on behind it.
Well, there is, and you can, if you want to track the insurance agencies, I guess, or whoever makes the pricing. I'll liken it to the way they do gas prices, which is one of the most scandalous things out there. So what happens is when oil rises, right? By the way, taking a barrel of crude, by the time it gets to market, it takes at least 6 months. But the day oil prices rise, they jack up the prices universally at all the gas stations. The day that oil prices go down, they take at least a week to reduce the prices at the gas station.
Or
That's
more. Yeah.
Yep, and that's intentional. That's
Yeah.
that's that's their extra profit right there. So they're playing games with you. Now remember, either way, that oil is does not get refined and hit the market for 6 months. So it's an absolute total complete scam.
Mhm.
And we're just and but the news media, the CIA, DARPA run news media has convinced us that, oh geez, oil prices are going up. Well, there we go. Well, our fuel prices are going to go up. They've conditioned us to that, right? But when oil prices drop, we don't go, oh good, gas is going down today. Nope, take a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. So,
Oh, we have to
so
empty the tank first of the more expensive gas. No, but you did it the other way. The tank was still full, but you raised the price. You bought it at a
oh,
lower price.
yep. Remember, we are in a corporation, a corpocracy. Hey,
Yeah.
Robert, tell us about lovely Trumper. Oh, you can't, haha, because I'm on the screen. Ay, we got to fix that. Hello, everybody. My name's Louis Herms again. Actually, I'm Robert Imbrali. I just look like Louis Herms. And I have an amazing cat called Thumper that Denise likes to call Trumper, which is a pretty cool name. Anyways, he's 15 years old. He's low energy, but he used to love to chase mice and jump on the bed. And guess what? He couldn't do it anymore. Short time, put him on super sauce and put him on the food from Pet Club 24/7, and now what can he do? He's jumping on the bed, chasing mice, and begging me, that's me, because 'cause I'm Robert Imbrelli, first thing in the morning to get me my food. So, guys, just go to Pet Club 24/7 and select Louis Herms or Robert Imbrelli for your food. Boom. Hey, Robert, I'm back.
Good. Hang on here.
Uh-oh.
I'm just opening up my Pet Club food because the food is just so darn good. I tell you,
Are you gonna eat
gotta
it?
have some.
There it is.
Mmm, it's awesome.
Wow, good for you. As he spits off the
This
screen.
is this is the chocolate chips. Okay,
That's right.
they're for the humans.
They do have they have
Those at
some
Pet Club too.
incredible human stuff there. I'm glad you mentioned it. In fact, I took human stuff this morning actually, because 'cause I've been having a little bit of a throat issue, and, they have some phenomenal products that they can't talk about because they're just so amazing, if that just gives you but what a great place to hide it on a pet club on a pet website, and you just click on human, so that's good stuff too.
It is. There's a number of people who've been asking me about that over the past few months, and I've been sending them there, and they've been buying it. And sure enough, the results are nothing less than spectacular for them. So yeah, take care of your pets, but take care of you too. Screwbiggov.com/pets is the link that you saw down below. Screwbiggov.com/pets will take you to the right place. So easier to find.
Boom, bada bing. Next up,
Bada bing. Next question, please.
Robert, can you add some clarity to the cryptocurrency confusion, please? Is it a good thing, or is it just another way to force all to digital currency? If you need to defer, Robert, you just let me know.
Henry Ford started, he invented the first motor car, right? And there were a lot of car companies at that time. A lot of people were coming up with cars because he had kind of figured it out, and other people started to figure it out. There was the Etzel, there was a Buick, there was back then all those different car companies. We had a plethora of car companies, and what happened over time? We started to experience something called consolidation, right? The big guys started to buy up the little guys. We see that in the computer industry, right? There were when I first started in computers, you wanted this, you buy it from this company, you want that, you buy it from this company, and you had all these different pieces of software, and now you buy Windows, and all of those elements are in the Windows. You don't have to. You've got Office 365. You've got your word processor. You've got your presentation software, your Excel spreadsheet, all of that in one package, right? So that's consolidation. So where we are in cryptocurrency right now is there's a lot of people. By the way, it costs you about $9 in software to create your own crypto. So what that means is anybody can have a coin. We can have the Herms coin.
We got to do it.
Right? Yeah, we got to do it. We have the Screw Big Gov coin. We can certainly have that. And, where will it go? Well, the question is, well, if it takes off, it'll probably get absorbed into another system from a bigger coin. And I think we're going to start to see that consolidation. And there have been coins that have disappeared. People invested in them, they had them, and all of a sudden that project was pulled because actually it is just a project. And they pulled a project, and that's the end of the coin. Not worth anything. You've got bits on your computer you can't sell, you can't trade because the people who created the project is gone. So right now, I'm kind of in a hold position, and I don't mean to say you got to be in a hold position. That's where I am because I'm waiting for the consolidation that I know is going to come. And when I start to see it, and I can see who the winners are going to be, it may be a little late, but I jump in at that point. My thought.
So on this, I'm going to try to be concise because we have so many questions and two of us are answering. But I believe the question's probably also referring to Bitcoin / President Trump. So what President Trump did is he not only endorsed Bitcoin, he said it's the coin of the future. He recommended, say da 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 da. You're just praising it. Oh my God, it's the most wonderful thing. So we could go down the route where he sheds light on something that he wants people to pay attention to. So all I know is what I know. Bitcoin is known to absolutely be used for illegal armaments, trading, human trafficking. So that's what we know. Plus, we also know that it's not a blockchain coin, and it's a lot easier. It appears to be manipulated, and it's overpriced at the moment. So, I personally, when Trump said that, I had to go to the bathroom. Let me just say that because that's an uneasy feeling. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's trying to expose them, maybe, because to me that, and this is a literal statement, that would be the last coin that I would choose.
That coin was one of the first coins to come out. And why
Right.
it's so popular is because it's one of the first, right? So the first always gets to the top quickly. The
Hmm.
problem with Bitcoin, the biggest problem is you can't trade it really quickly. So XRP, for instance, fixed that problem. You can make trades instantly, right? So it can be used in a store. You can imagine going to a store and you're going to pay in Bitcoin and it takes 2 weeks to solve that transaction. Well, Mr. Herms, you just have to wait for that can of Coke that you want to buy. We have to wait 2 weeks till your Bitcoin clears. It's not usable, right? It's not
Yeah.
functional. And
Yeah.
the fees are really expensive too for Bitcoin. So XRP and other projects like this said, okay, what are the problems with these big coins? And they sought out to create a coin that would solve all these problems. So Will it be XRP? Will it be XLM? Will it be, well, there's a lot of them out there that have potential. If you
Yeah.
look at the technology behind it, we don't know where it's going to settle yet.
Yeah, ultimately, I think they're going to have to be valued against in the ground minerals, gold, silver, oil, gas, or I'm not going to have much interest in that. All right,
Yep.
let's move on to number five. Seems that everyone famous has multiple body doubles, including Trump. How can we trust the words coming from someone who not actually is not actually that person? Okay, first, if Trump is using a body double, that's scripted based on the good guy narrative. So you probably could trust that if that's the good guy double, which I would assume it would be. But that being said, what this really is a lesson in personal discernment and not attaching yourself to any one person in order to suck on the teat of their narrative. That includes President Trump. So I personally, this is very, very easy for me, is I've made a conscious decision to look at the fruits of what somebody has done and use my discernment whether they're trying to drive you in the right direction. And that's it. So I kind of don't put any I don't personally invest too much into any of this because I believe both sides are playing games with us, which pisses me off, but I understand why.
Yeah, if you're into applied kinesiology, you can always do muscle testing. That'll give you an idea. If you've got a pendulum, you could swing the pendulum and you could find out, is this the real guy? Is this not the real guy? Right? You get the yes or the no. And the other thing too is, I know Wano Savid talked about this a lot with Janine about she's channeling the devil, right? And she's channeling evil and all of that. And it's like, well, if that were true, then the messaging that would be coming out would be along that vein. It's not going to be a positive message. So when you look at these people, these doubles, I always look at the message. Is the message a positive message? The messenger may be different, but what's the message? Is it the message that makes sense to us? Does it fit the narrative that we're believing in? If it does, okay, that's fine. I don't mind having a double because of course, we saw what happened on the 13th. We don't want to see that kind of thing happen. And if it was just a body double, okay, bad, but not as bad as it could be if it were the real person. So we understand why they're doing it. And I always look, just look at the message. Does the message make sense? Is it in alignment with what you would expect to hear? If they're going to put a body double out there and they're going to direct them to say things that are really out of character, I think we'd see it. My guess. I don't know. What do you think, Lewis?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's interesting. Uh, I would say I don't know which ones are President Trump body doubles or if they are, but I've said this many, many times. Since the beginning of rulers in countries, they've had body doubles. Pharaohs have had body doubles. The Chinese rulers had body doubles. They've had many body doubles in Rome. In fact, historically, they're not even on and on and on. So I think it's likely that Trump has body doubles. Um, I don't. In fact, I know he has body doubles. The
Five.
the question really is which one's which, right?
Right.
I think as dangerous as it is, I think it would be irresponsible to roll him out all the time, right?
Of
Um,
course. Yeah.
but we'll see,
My
right?
question, my question here would be though, how would you play it if the assassination were successful and it was a and he pops up the next day and everything's fine?
Well,
Or would
no,
you have to at that point reveal?
I think it would be a reveal, but here's where I differ from most people. I really do believe they're using Project Looking Glass, and that's why they could be so precise with what they're doing. Meaning, if I'm right and they're using Project Looking Glass, they intentionally would have put President Trump, the real President Trump, there because they already know the outcome. So don't know, but you guys should watch that video if you're like, what the hell's Lewis talking about? It's a
Yep.
pretty in depth video. We have it here uh, down, I think, about a week and a half. All right, next one. How can someone who is coerced into taking the poisonous jab still be able to trust the same doctor that poisoned them? especially with all the truth being exposed about how harmful they are. Well, I would say that's easy. 100%. I would. Why would you trust that doctor? How can you? You shouldn't trust that doctor. Absolutely. For me, that's the easiest question of the day. No, I don't trust doctors anyways. And if somebody was trying to push the jab on me, they could kick rocks. There's no way anybody should ever trust them. What's your take?
This is the hope. I was talking to Dr. Frieder the other day. I was hanging out with him on Saturday, and we were talking about this. And he's not necessarily a Trump supporter, but we had a great conversation. I said, truthfully, what we have to realize now is that what happened was the FDA, not the one that people got. They got the unapproved version, literally. They
Hmm.
approved one that wasn't even on the market
Yeah,
when they gave the
they approved Comirnaty from Germany is what they approved.
right. And that one was rolled out to the military months and months later, but it was never rolled out to the public. So my hope is that we'll get to a point where not only will we not trust the general practitioner, the gal or the guy at the drugstore, the drive, we have to recognize, right? That's going to wake people up at this point. And my hope is that we stop trusting big pharma. We do everything we possibly can to get away from big pharma, and we do things like, hey, we got berberine. What is going to control blood sugar? Oh my God, they don't have to be on insulin. Yeah, or you've got pine pollen tincture, right? You've got tools out there that they want to suppress. Like Lance can come on our show and he can't talk about a lot of things because he's the guy who makes these things.
That's right.
So he can't even tell you legally what these things do. So he kind of talks around it and talks around it. And you got to kind of read between the lines a little bit. I hope we get to the point real soon where the FDA people tune it out. Big pharma, tune it out. We get away from all of that and we recognize that there's no point in your lifetime where you have a deficiency of pharmaceuticals that is making you unhealthy. It's not happening. You have a deficiency in vitamin C, vitamin D. You have a deficiency in minerals or fulvic acid or something. No, that's real. So I hope we get to the point we all wake up and say, no more. And they have no more power on us the moment we turn our back on them. The only reason they have power is because we continue to give it to them. So this is a battle that I've been in for the last 30 years. I kid you not, I've been in the natural health world that long. When I met a chiropractor way back when in my marketing career, and he convinced me to listen to this. But 1995, I got exposed to it for the very first time with Tony Robbins. And then it was, okay, this is crazy. This doesn't make any sense. So I haven't taken an aspirin, I haven't taken an Advil in years and years and years and years, it's just you stay away from it, and you find that you're actually healthier when you're staying away from this. So people are waking up. I mean, I hope a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
No.
Well, speaking of the FDA and all that craziness, this company that you're seeing on the screen is highly scrutinized by the FDA because they have, in my opinion, the best way to get glutathione into your body. And the results are phenomenal. The testimonials are phenomenal. I'll just quickly say that glutathione is the most researched molecule on the planet for a reason. Because if, and that's a big if, you can get it to where it needs to go into your body, it actually works with your mitochondria, your pituitary system, and your immune system to do what? Figure out what the hell's wrong with you and fix it. And that's the beautiful thing. God gave us an amazing body, fixes itself if it knows what to do and if it's healthy enough to do so. That's what Neumi does. You have Neumi Skin, Neumi Hers, and now there's a neurotropic for the brain out from Neumi. So just absolutely phenomenal product. Go to screwbiggov.com/Neumi, screwbiggov.com/Neumi. Boom, bada bing.
We're
Let's,
back.
what else do we have here? Number 7. What are your thoughts on Blackstone purchasing Ancestry.com? Should those in their DNA system be concerned? Oh, I'm all over this if you want me to take it.
Take it.
Okay. So there's a difference between BlackRock and Blackstone. Blackstone, if I'm correct, is the number one largest corporate donor to President Trump. I believe, because we already know BlackRock is bad, Vanguard bad. I believe that because the way the good guys do their work is they mock the bad guys, which Robert and I do on this show often. I believe Blackstone may be the counter to BlackRock. So maybe them purchasing Ancestry.com, hopefully, could be to protect the DNA, but we'll find out. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I have not looked into this one, but I don't know why they call themselves Blackstone. They should have called themselves Whitestone or White Rock.
Yeah, I think because they want people to see the connection of black rock, and so they're changing it to a stone, um,
Yeah.
because of the meaning of rock.
Interesting. Interesting. I don't know the full story here, but it'll be kind of interesting to see where this goes. But I'm glad the good guys have it in their hands now because that makes more sense than Black Rock having it.
Yeah, and black rock is, just so people know, is derived from Saturn, which is Saturnalia, and that's where they came up with the black cube. They call it the black rock. So that's where the origin of that word actually comes from, which is from, of course, it's just another satanic offering. It's just awesome. All right, let's see what's next. Blood gets taken from the foot of each newborn baby and the blood type recorded. Wouldn't those searching for the bloodline of Jesus just use probably the data, I think it is, from this system? Interesting. Okay. Uh, Wouldn't those searching for the bloodline of Jesus? Okay, got it.
Making us think here. I don't know.
Yeah, I would assume, if they would, you know what I mean? If that's what they are. And a lot of this, again, we live in the world of patriot, like Ethan says, mythology. So we have to kind of figure out what's real and what's not real. Um, there's a movie that many people have watched. A book. I read the book, and it's called The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. Now, now because Tom Hanks was in it, everybody says, "Oh, that was a total cabal." Blah, blah. Wait, wait. There's some truth to it. There's some truth. The way the Roman Catholic Church went and persecuted women. They called them Satanists because, one, just so you, if everybody wants the background, the Roman Catholic Church at the time was competing with other entities for power, and women had a very high place in a lot, and you can call them occults, whatever you want to call them. They had a very high place in society, and they were revered. The woman was revered more than the male at many times, and the Roman Catholic Church did everything they could to go after women that were the head of anything, right? So even if it wasn't an occult, it could have been something else. And yes, some of them did sun worship, and some of them were paganistic. But there's some research that says they didn't even know what they were doing, right? So we don't know. And maybe they worship false idols. All I know is the Catholic Church went after them big time and just completely scoured the earth and got rid of virtually every woman that is a leader, because they needed an all man Roman Catholic Church leadership. So some of the Da Vinci Code is absolutely true. And if you study Da Vinci, you know that a lot of it's true also. So, is there a bloodline of Jesus? I don't know. I can tell you, just based on a little research, um, Mary Magdalene seems a lot closer to Jesus than than Christians have indicated. And there's some things that you can read about that, and there's some missing scripture that it's also speculated that it shows them together. So there is a lot of work to do on this, and I think it's very, very interesting for sure. So I don't know the answer to the question, but if this is a big if, not to offend any Christians, if there is a bloodline of Jesus out there, I would think that would be coveted by both sides, evil and good.
Yep. What you said. I
Yeah.
I don't have much to add to this.
No
I
worries.
still don't know my blood type. I'm 60. I don't know my blood type,
I
so I
don't
don't
know
know.
mine either. I don't know mine either. You and I are the only 2 people on the planet that don't know their blood type. I don't know.
Well, it's red. If they ask me, it's red.
Yeah,
That's I've seen it. It's red. Yeah.
and mine is red sometimes also. All right, here we go. I'm hearing that nothing is as it seems with Trump and his family. Who are you hearing that from would be my first question. Laura is a male, Ivanka is non-existent, and Jared has been replaced. Is this family really a psyop in itself? Okay, well, just to be clear, everything's a psyop. So
At
just so
this
you know,
point, yeah.
everything is a psyop, and there is absolutely some weird anomalies with the Trump family. I believe Jared has been replaced. I mean, the Jared before and the Jared now are just so they don't even look like they could be from the same family. So that is curious for sure. Um, I do think it's interesting that Ivanka barely ever is seen anymore. So that is interesting, right? Um, I think it's interesting that Kimberly Guilfoyle, Gavin Newsom's ex-wife, is a big part of their family now. That is definitely interesting. The whole Laura is a male thing, I don't know. I think we jump off that cliff too often, sometimes. But so I don't know. But I would say definitely a psyop because that's what's going on. The reason why our heads are spinning so much is just so we know is not because one side is doing the psyop. It's because both sides are doing the psyop. So that's why it's so hard for us because we want to believe one side, but they're lying to us and they're going to tell you it's for the greater good. So who knows? What do you think, Robert?
Yeah, I think we're in the middle of the storm here. Not in the eye of the storm, but we're in the middle of the storm, and the things are getting whipped up, and it's really hard to know truth from fiction. And as far as Ivanka, the story I heard about her is she leans more liberal. She's more into protecting the babies and protecting the children and that kind of thing than her dad. And there's some discordance there between their beliefs. So she's decided to take a step back. She said she wasn't going to be involved in his presidency second time around. She had already decided that, I think, 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
it's not weird that we're not seeing her. We did see her at the RNC. She did show up, and a guy looking like Jared was there. Don't know if it's him or not. Who knows? Lara Trump is interesting. She's an interesting person. She's a woman with a lot of talent.
Mhm.
Certainly, she sings, she dances. She's now the head of the RNC. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that she's got that role now. And you could kind of see that in a way we're clawing back control. And it's just little pieces at a time, little piece here, little piece there. But it feels like we're starting to claw back control of these institutions that had gone cabal or woke on us. The RNC was not a friend of the Republican Party. They were a friend of the rhinos. That's who they were supporting. They were funneling money there, and that's why they got rid of what's her face there, the one before her. I don't even remember her name off the top of my head. Not Reince Priebus. It was the one after her. What was her name?
Oh, you're talking about Romney's niece, right?
Romney's niece. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's her name? Mick.
Ronna McDaniel. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
her.
McDonald. I used to call her McDonald's.
Yeah. So, when you saw that and you saw that shift happen, they put Lara Trump in there. It's like, well, the media probably had a conniption about that. But you know what? We needed to take that organization back because they're the ones that dictate who gets the funding when they're running their campaigns. And they were pretty much only funding rhinos. And obviously we'd never get back in control there. So if you start to look at this like a big chessboard, that was a good chess piece. We got that one in place.
Mhm.
So I don't know where these Laura's a male. I don't know where any of that stuff is coming from. But again, remember the other side is trying to inject, and I'm seeing it all the time, more on Facebook than anywhere else, that they're injecting these things, these narratives, these memes that are
Mhm.
totally false. But then they get shared, and they get shared, and they get shared. Well, I've seen it 5 times. The more often you see it, the more you believe it to be what? Fact.
Yep.
Keep repeating the lie enough times, people go, it must be the truth. So that's
Yeah,
what's going on. So be careful of
they
that,
do it,
guys.
and they do it on our side too. Well, we think it's our
They do.
side, but they do it in the Patriot movement for sure. Let me just
Yep.
address some things in chat. Somebody said Laura, Ivanka, Kimberly. Uh, let's see. You can do that with Big Mike because it's pretty freaking obvious. You can do that with Macron's wife, man. You can do that with the wife, man of Bulgaria. I mean, there's some places that you can just absolutely know 100%. The ex-New Zealand president. I mean, there's some things that you just know. What we are missing in this formula here, when we jump off that cliff too fast, is especially in the United States, we have been poisoned in our food for like 40 to 50 years now, a long time. And naturally, the poison and the chemicals and the GMOs and everything, they've already found out that start to give women male type features, which would make me think that that's probably on purpose. So the quintessential female who we think it should be, that hourglass figure, right, is harder and harder to find based on the attack we've had on our foods, on our chemicals, on our air, everything that you can imagine. So even our water is just horrible. So uh, I don't jump off the cliff that quickly, right? Because I do know that many women have male features, and many men now are literally born feminine. So this has to do with them jacking up with everything. So I wouldn't jump off that cliff so quickly about them.
I agree. I agree.
And one more
I was
thing,
gonna do. I was gonna do a show, and I was gonna just show pictures of women and say, real or fake, real woman or man.
yeah, yeah,
Because I think we need to train ourselves a little bit to be able to spot this, right? Because we're seeing more and more of it now,
yeah,
especially the single guys out there. You
yeah.
don't want to make that mistake.
Going to freak people out here, and they're going to get mad at me because you patriots are already brainwashed in the patriot mythology.
Yeah.
I've known many women that have an Adam's apple. Uh-oh. And they have, you know what, the real parts below. I'm just saying. So there's some chemicals that are also happening. So we can't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. We have to have a little more discernment in this case.
Right.
Do they
Yeah, we
exist?
had a little bit more proof, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I don't want them pulling up their skirts. So let's not go there. Okay. Real quick, there's a question in the chat. Hey, Lewis, are you aligned with Harry the Soul Coach? Well, I'd have to say no because I don't know who that is. So that answered that one pretty quickly. Let's go on to, let's do this real quick. What in the world? Here's what we're announcing, folks. On Thursdays, we have a new show coming every Thursday with my buddy Alan Fountain. It's called Two Dudes Chillin' on Thursdays. I think it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have conversations just like two dudes are having a conversation that we have no idea which direction it will come. We're going to be very authentic and just have these questions. I ask him questions, he asks me, and we'll see where it goes. I think the only thing that's missing is cognac and cigars in that picture. But guys, this would be a lot of fun. I think people would really appreciate kind of being a fly on the wall in these conversations because Alan has some incredible insights, and it'll be fun to play off of each other
So that starts this Thursday,
this Thursday. So it'll be,
same time on this channel, huh?
yep, every Thursday, same bat time, same bat channel. Let's see here. I'm seeing if.
Outstanding.
All right. So next up, we've got. It looks like this may be for me. Why were you hesitant about the Nick V show discussing Project Looking Glass after mentioning covens and spellcasting at the Anaheim Truth Tour event? Okay, that's a great question, actually. I think I think believing that there is actually time travel that is being used right now in order to win this war is a whole nother level than a coven of witches, which I saw firsthand with my eyeballs spell casting. So the hesitancy for me is I believe I have an assignment, and that assignment is to help we the people through this madness and help us take back our countries, plural, by activating on a local level and me teaching as much as I possibly can, motivating, traveling, whatever I can do. I didn't want the Project Looking Glass narrative to derail my much bigger mission than that. But I thought maybe this would add some clarity to people wondering if these events were real or fake. And based on some knowledge I had in some conversations with somebody, a couple of people on the Trump team, or one of them on the Trump team and somebody else, and then me putting kind of two and two together and then accessing Q is why I came up with the hypothesis. And I guess it looks like 95% of the people think that it gave them a good feeling, and it's they believe it's plausible. So you guys go back a couple weeks or go to screwbiggov.com, click on films, and I think it's there, but if not, you can go on Rumble, go back and you look for the one on Project Looking Glass. It's fascinating to say the least, whether you agree or don't agree. So, what that was my hesitancy is I don't want to derail the overall mission that I have to help get our country back on track. All right. Last question that we have here. Why do you think we aren't hearing from the Republicans who we believe aren't rhinos about pushing to uncover those being behind the assassination attempt on DJT? Take it away, Mr. Umbrelli.
We're actually starting to. That committee that I have to say his name, Mike Johnson, put together, put the wrong guys on it. And there is a rebuke now in Congress, and the ones that should have been on it are saying, now we're going to create our own committee. Screw him. We're going to create our own committee. We're going to look into it independently. We're going to fund it. We're going to find a way, and forget about the official what they're going to come up with. We're going to dig into it as well. So it was good to see that. Obviously, there won't be back until September the 9th now, so it'll be a long way before things actually start to happen. But today on Capitol Hill, the Senate was grilling, I think, the head of the FBI. And I think one of the questions was, "Hey, why hasn't anybody been fired yet?" And they couldn't answer that. It's like it's been 14 days. This was this huge screw up, and nobody's been fired. So we've got to keep the heat on these guys. We really do. And they're going to try to cover it up clearly. But it's up to us, guys. If we drop it because the media drops it, doesn't mean we need to. Like the story of Maui, still on it, still looking for stuff on that, right? And we're going to keep digging on that because the media dropped it almost a year ago. They're already done with it, but it's not something to be done with. This assassination attempt is not something we need to drop. We need to keep going and keep pushing. And our elected officials will follow our lead if we show up in big enough numbers.
Yeah. So I think the short answer for me is um, first, I don't trust our elected officials. I can't even name three that I can trust at the moment. It seems like might be able to trust five or six, but I'm not unequivocally can. So that being said, they in let's assume you can trust them all. They're moving in their mind. They're moving a aircraft carrier, which takes a long time to turn, right? So they do not pivot very quickly because it's for them. They're like, okay, how can this affect me? How can it affect my constituents? Am I going to look bad? Is everybody ready for this? What's the ramifications of this conversation? And then let's all get together and plan. And then they plan the way they're going to roll these things out. So um, I wouldn't put too much faith into our unelected officials. Let's just put it like that.
How true?
Let's
How true?
All right. Hey, let's look at this. This is kind of cool.